So Harry and Meghan's strategy to create a sensational, albeit largely fictitious, storyline out of the royals and their time working for the monarchy was a recipe for media success. But notice the distinction between media success and personal and reputational success. Harry and Meghan had like a three-pronged approach against them. The media was willing to milk them for all that they were worth, all that they were willing to give up, giving them as much airtime as they desired as long as they were giving something juicy, true or not. And the royal family was not willing to get in the mud with them, refused to complain or explain. They were only willing to give Harry and Meghan enough rope to self-destruct. And no one, including the Sussexes, were looking out for their long-term reputation. Absolutely no one cared about that. In Australia, for example, whether they did charity visits or not, even just the business activities alone were drawing criticisms. They were overshadowed by the controversy of a hybrid visit, or the security expenses, or the ethics of selling clothes or selling access. When the trip was said and done, no one really cared about the charities or the initiatives or the causes. People only cared about the drama and the controversy. These examples illustrate and demonstrate the exact PR concept of this controversy cloud overshadowing everything. Because they prioritized selfish, high-drama projects for years, a huge portion of the public and the press will never view the Sussexes as anything but a drama, a soap opera, a cheap reality show with manufactured drama. The guilty pleasure of how did they screw up this time, or what lies are they telling now? Can't wait to see this crash and burn. This is complicated by the fact that they never cut off the drama. The sink is still leaking. There was no point at which they actually set down their controversial takes and complaints and actually let them lie. It's bad enough that the first impressions and the post-Megxit reintroduction to the public were centered around drama and controversy, but they've continued even after saying that they want reconciliation and are leaving the drama behind them. Meghan still stirs that pot one more time when she brings up the "I'm the most bullied woman in the world, man or woman, and nobody helped me" in Australia. Or when Harry, reignited his security battles or is still pushing through with his court cases. These are examples of continuing to pick at the scabs. And this phenomena really comes into sharper focus when you consider that normally anybody, celebrity or not, public figure, what have you, doing a charity visit or serving food at a shelter is rarely criticized. And almost never is it labeled as controversial. But for the Sussexes, it is. And it's their own fault. It doesn't matter how normal or safe the activity is from a PR standpoint, it will be criticized simply because it's them. And when the positives are clouded over by the negatives of Harry and Meghan's reputations, it undermines any potential there for brand repair or image repair or just simply trying to move forward doing something right. The controversy shadow completely prevents their public image from being shaped by the charity work that they do. Instead, their public image is rigidly cemented in that controversy. Charity visits simply cannot compete with the controversial high-drama public image that they built. And sadly, it's a journalism fact that the tame will never outpace the sensational in reach or views or engagement, which is exactly why their years of exclusively indulging in dramatics was a trap that they laid for themselves and fell into. I'm sure they thought that they were digging that hole for the royal family to fall into. But the royals maintained the never complain, never explain mantra and won the PR battle with intelligence and discipline, control and focus, and just plain media savvy. So now when Meghan rebrands her lifestyle label or when they're honored as Humanitarians of the Year, the public reaction is not applause. It's either apathy, where's the drama, or skepticism. What's the ulterior motive here? Because you cannot spend years monetizing your own personal controversies and then suddenly demand the public treat you like a boring noble philanthropist. You can't unring the bell. The controversy shadow is permanent. Once you sell the public the most intimate, controversial details of your life, that becomes your baseline. Everything else is just background noise. And this started even before Megxit happened. Remember in South Africa, Meghan's I'm not okay thing. That overshadowed the whole visit, which was why the royal family was disappointed with that tour. Because the publicity then became all about Meghan and whether or not she's okay and who's failing to ask her if she's okay. None of the work, none of the initiatives, none of the causes, none of the diplomacy was featured. The media only went for that sensational, high drama, Meghan thinks that nobody's asked her if she's okay. How absurd is that? This is exactly why the never complain, never explain mantra is so powerful in PR and the gold standard when it comes to publicity or public image. Because the second you start trying to explain, you create a dynamic where your choices and your actions are up for debate. It shows that you're trying to convince people of something. If you have conviction and integrity and you know that you're doing the right thing, you don't have to explain it. And the second you start complaining, you're not going to endear yourself to anyone. It is incredibly unlikable for somebody in a privileged position to be complaining about small things. So what do you guys think? Is it possible for a public figure to ever fully pivot away from a controversial era? Or are they stuck in that shadow forever? There are a few examples that I can think of like actors who had a controversial past, like Robert Downey Jr. I feel like is a good example, but he worked really hard to get through that era, and it took a long time. Problematic Robert Downey Jr. and the one who like I know from movies I've seen growing up are two completely different individuals separated by at least a decade, in which he was very, very quiet. And at no point did he blame other people for his problems or his struggles. He took accountability. He put his head down and he worked hard at repairing his personal life, and his public image followed suit eventually. He did not go out and attack people in the public eye. His controversies were rooted in bad behaviors, bad choices, bad lifestyle things that then were corrected. So it's not really comparable, but I'm interested to see what you guys have to say in the comments. Thank you for joining me today. I sincerely hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Have a happy day, everybody. Bye.